This is how Trump and the military are going to destroy the Federal Reserve Bank in every single solitary country that they exist today. If you want to know what's really going on, just follow the money. And I'm not talking about the little money. I'm talking about the big money. I'm talking about, I believe Bitcoin was a trap for the scum who are trying to hide their dirty money. Good morning, everybody. This is the follow-up podcast from the Dream Life podcast. As I told everybody in the last one, it's April 15th, 2025. So I want to give everybody a point of reference just so that with everything that's going on in the world, you know what information I've had to work with and collect up until now to bring you some critical thinking information. Before we get going, just please like us. Please comment, help participate so we can get our numbers up. Any questions that you have, please leave it in the comments. I am going to be responding to the comments and questions and stuff like that. And we are going to be going live here shortly. Again, today's April 15th. It's probably going to be around May 8th or 9th is probably when we're going to be going live. So just be on the watch for that. That is coming. I want to talk about, and I want everybody to understand what is happening in the world that I touched on the podcast, that, what is actually happening in the world right now. And that was about 4 months ago. A lot has happened. A lot is happening. And I've gotten a lot more information since then. So today I asked myself, what is the most important thing that I know that I could share with my audience that will change their life or help them the most? Okay. And notwithstanding giving your life to Jesus Christ and enjoying the benefits of being a believer, the next best thing is understanding. I want to help you understand what's happening in the financial world under Trump. Okay. Now, depending upon how many of my podcasts that you've listened to, I have stated that Trump and the military are in the process of destroying the Federal Reserve. Okay. It's not just the Federal Reserve in the United States of America. Q told us that the Rothschilds own the Central Federal Reserve Bank in 208 countries. And so I'm just going to look that up quickly just to show, people who haven't seen it before. Right here, QAlerts.app. You can pull up the Q information right here. All right. This is the post right here that shows which banks are owned by the Rothschilds. So let's just go back here to post 136. No, that's going to be 135. Rothschild owned and controlled banks. It begins with Afghanistan and the Bank of Afghanistan. Okay. It goes down through all of these countries right here. This is post 135. Okay, it starts with Afghanistan, and what Q is telling us is how the Rothschilds controlled the finances of literally every person in the entire world through the Federal Reserve banks that they own in 208 countries. So here's page one, drop 135, right here. Okay, we'll go down through. Now I'm going to go to drop 136. Okay. This one here is more Federal Reserve banks in all these different countries. Okay. All those countries. Now we'll go to 137. There's page 3. Okay. It starts with Iraq. Goes down through all these countries right here. Okay. And then finally, on the final page, drop 139. All of these countries right here all fall underneath the auspices and the control of the Rothschild family banks. Now, understand that probably above the Rothschilds is the 13 Phoenician families that run the world, okay? And the Rothschilds are probably most likely just a subset of the 13 Phoenician families that they controlled the Roman Empire. I mean, they've controlled things going back forever. And the reason that they've been able to control everything is because of the money. As I've shared with my listeners throughout time, that if you control the money, you could basically control a lot of things. And this gets back into the information war. If you have the money and if you can buy these idiots in the news media to broadcast what you tell them to broadcast, that's how you win an information war. You control all of the information that's going out in the news world, Hollywood, music, sports, entertainment, everything. In the 13 Phoenician families and the Rothschilds, through their banking system, that's how they've been able to control the information war and the finances of everybody on the planet. The military sting operation that I've been talking to you about, probably the single biggest component of benefit that we're going to get from the military sting operation is we are not going to be debt slaves any longer to the Rothschild in the 13 Phoenician family money cartel and banking cartel. If you understand the banking, it all comes, that's why I'd say just follow the money. If you want to know what's really going on, just follow the money. And I'm not talking about the little money. I'm talking about the big money. I'm talking about the trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, okay, that this scum, these satanic cabal, has controlled for a very long time. So the next thing that I want my listeners to understand is what happens when we have that financial reset, okay? And all this wealth, all this money that is now not under the control of the Satanists, okay? But it's under the control of the Worldwide Alliance. President Trump, Commander-in-Chief Trump right now, under Law of War Manual. Xi from China. Xi is taking down the deep state in the Chinese Communist Party in China. And Putin. All three of them, the three most powerful countries on earth, the three most powerful men on earth, are working together hand in hand with Trump, utilizing their militaries and the militaries of the other 33 largest countries around the world to completely, utterly destroy the deep state, the 13 Phoenician families, the Rothschild banking empire. They are systematically destroying it. For all these people who say that, Trump doesn't know what he's doing, I've got news for you morons. Trump knows exactly what he's doing. He has no question whatsoever. He is working hand in hand with the military. He is forcing things to happen in markets, in currencies, in trade. Here's a good one. Gold shall destroy. Back on December 12, 2018, an Anon asked Q, he says, do we have the gold? And Q says, yes, gold shall destroy the Fed. What just conveniently has been happening over the past 12 months? Gold is going into outer space. On one of my podcasts, I explained derivatives to my listening audience, okay? With gold and silver going up and up and up, okay? And all these stupid, ridiculous gold and silver derivatives that these big banks hold, this is how Trump and the military are going to destroy the Federal Reserve Bank in every single solitary country that they exist today. It is in gold, because gold, silver, real assets, oil, minerals, that is the only true wealth that exists on earth. And we've been living this lie ever since 1913, when the Federal Reserve was established. They destroyed real money. They concocted this fake fiat paper money. They created inflation to be a hidden tax, and they robbed from us 1% a year for 100 years. So now our money is next to worthless compared to what it used to be worth. And Trump and the military are using gold to completely dismantle and demolish the Federal Reserve banking system and their fake fiat currency. That's why the question is do we have the gold? Again, if you listen to some of my other podcasts that I did, I explained to you that when Trump came in, he sent the U.S. military over to the Vatican tunnels underground, and he brought back 650 planefuls, C-17s, C-5As. They brought all the gold back that they had hijacked and stolen from the United States of America with the Bushes, the Clintons, and the Obamas. Trump went back. He said, get out of my way. There will be planes coming in to Rome airport every single day until we have all our gold back. And Trump took the gold and he brought it back. Now, I'll take a moment right now just to touch on some information warfare that has been kind of being put out there by Elon Musk and Donald Trump about Fort Knox, okay? And again, we're in an information war. So when the information comes out, okay, and Trump and Elon Musk say, oh, we went to audit Fort Knox and there's no gold there. They're painted lead bars. They took lead bars and they painted them and it's nothing but lead, and somebody took the gold and we don't know where it went. Don't overreact to that. That is for the normal person who's not a critical thinker, that doesn't understand, okay, that Trump and Q already told us that, yes, we got the gold back. That gold is what's going to back our new U.S. Treasury currency notes once we get rid of the bullshit fake fiat notes from the Rothschilds. That's why the price of gold and silver is going and going and going and going, is because that is the only true money that exists. And that's why we need it to back up our currency. That is minerals and assets. That is true wealth, not this fake, stuff that they call money that's printed on worthless paper, because it's not backed by anything. So I wanted you to understand that so that we could transition into cryptocurrency. A lot of you may not have even ever heard this name before, but there's a gentleman by the name of Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor did a fantastic presentation that was filmed and it was posted on X. He did a fantastic presentation on cryptocurrency. And what he taught the audience basically was, if you want to have an opportunity to invest, cryptocurrency and the ownership of cryptocurrency is the new digital gold rush. This is the same thing as stepping foot in California in the 1800s, okay, and starting to pan and dig for gold. Obviously, we don't have to pan for anything, but what you've got to do is you've got to get invested in cryptocurrency. Now, again, if you're paying attention, Commander-in-Chief Donald Trump, okay, Trump mentions 3 cryptocurrencies in the strategic reserve. So we'll go right here. Okay. So Trump said in a post on Truth Social that his January executive order on digital assets would create a stockpile of currencies, including Bitcoin, Ether, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. Okay. I just happened to purchase some XRP for some of my grandchildren. Okay, about 9 months, about maybe 9, 10 or 11 months before Trump made this announcement. So for my listeners, this is your opportunity. Go out and get yourself a wallet. I went out and I got what they call a Ledger Nano S, and I'll just pull it up here on the screen, right? So right here, this is a wallet, okay? And this is where you want to store your cryptocurrency. It's only $80, okay? And let's just go over here and see what is the current price of XRP. Okay, $2.15. All right, let's go back 1 year, okay? I purchased it right down here at about 50. Yeah. I purchased it down here. I purchased it right around 48 cents. Yeah, right there. I purchased right around 48 cents. Okay. It's only at 215. So what you have to understand is that, okay, it's gone up a lot. Okay. It's gone up 4x on when I invested. Okay. What you have to picture XRP is that not at 215, you have to picture XRP at 100 or maybe 1,000. Okay, because in the next 5 to 10 years, XRP is going to go to a minimum of 100, probably to 1,000, very, very easily. So there's an amazing opportunity. Let's just go back here. Okay, so he also says, obviously Bitcoin and Ether, they're big ones, but Solana and Cardano. Okay, so let's go Solana. All right, so we go to the current price of Solana. All right, and Solana is trading at $131. So that's why I say you want to picture XRP going up to anywhere from 100 to 1,000. And God only knows, in 10 years, it could be well above that. But we are in the digital gold rush right now with cryptocurrency. So let's go back and we'll say, what is the current price? What was that? Third one was Cardano. The price of Cardano is at 63 cents. Okay. So this is going to be a great one to highly leverage because it's only 63 cents a piece. Okay. So again, when you're talking about critical thinking, okay, pay attention to what Trump is saying. Trump said in a post on Truth Social that his January executive order on digital assets would create a stockpile of currencies, including Bitcoin, Ether, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. That is a warning to everybody who wants to participate in the cryptocurrency gold rush. Trump is telling you, go out and invest in these. Pick any of them. If you don't invest in these, you are going to kick yourself in the rear forever till the day that you die. The people who support and love Trump and pay attention and participate in the gold rush are going to benefit. For the Trump haters who ignore it and just think he's an idiot, you're going to pay a dear price for hating Trump because he's telling you right now, the United States of America is going to create a stockpile of these currencies. And for all we know, it could already be done. The United States of America Treasury could already own these, okay? But Trump is just putting it out there that, oh yeah, we're gonna create a stockpile of these cryptocurrency. That is telling me that these are legitimate bona fide ones because Trump's military is already, they know all about every single solitary one of these 5 cryptocurrency. And you've heard me say before too that I think that Bitcoin, and again, I'm on record saying that I believe Bitcoin was a trap for the scum who are trying to hide their dirty money. I believe that Bitcoin was a trap. It's also a cryptocurrency, okay? But why is it that when it comes to Bitcoin, nobody knows nothing about no one or who created, where did it come? We know nothing. It got created, it's out there, and I think that that's part of the military sting operation, albeit it's a bona fide crypto, but the only one who could keep something that super secret is the military. Nobody else could keep something like that big, that secret. Exactly how that pans out, I don't know, but I just wanted to point out the cryptocurrency gold rush that is taking off right here and right now. We are on the ground floor still. For those of you, I don't care if you can only take $500, $1,000, $2,500, $5,000. If it's $100, it doesn't matter. Take whatever you can afford to invest and get as much of one of those cryptocurrencies as you can. I'm going to get Cardano. I'm going to get more XRP, and I'm going to get more Cardano. That's just what I'm doing. But I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not stating that I am. I'm just saying it that for those who are paying attention, for those who are critical thinkers, you're a horse being led to water. All you got to do is drink. We've got a beautiful warning here where Commander-in-Chief Trump is telling us, you might want to think about investing in these because the greatest government on earth is going to create a stockpile of these currencies. And I do not want you to miss the most important word in that statement. It's right here. Trump said we are going to create a stockpile of currencies, real money. And getting back to Michael Saylor, okay, he's got this right here. And we're going to listen to it just for a little while, just so that all my listeners understand that Michael Saylor is the preeminent mind, or one of the top 5 preeminent minds on cryptocurrency. So let's just listen to what he has to say, and you're gonna want to listen to some more of his stuff. So let's go here. We'll start over.
I'm delighted to have the opportunity to speak today. The word strategic Bitcoin reserve to the casual observer sound like a stockpile of an asset. To a closer observer, it sounds like a stockpile of the most valuable asset the human race has ever invented. But I'm here today to show you how the strategic Bitcoin reserve represents a strategy for United States digital supremacy in the 21st century. The president, with his vision, has established a strategic Bitcoin reserve as of last week and has declared that America will be the Bitcoin superpower. That is prescient. I would hazard to guess that the great majority of the people that saw that post don't even know what Bitcoin superpower means, and they haven't really considered it. I was inspired by the words, and that caused me to put together this presentation today. Why is Bitcoin critical to the prosperity of the United States in the 21st century? That is the question we all should be asking. There are many metaphors for thinking about a strategic reserve of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is digital capital. If we thought of it as Bitcoin as digital capital, is this a stockpile of cheese? Is this a stockpile of oil, natural gas, or even uranium, all of which would be interesting? Well, at its worst case, in its narrowest form, you could think about the strategic Bitcoin reserve as a stockpile of the apex asset of the human race. And so what's it worth? Well, over the next 20 years, I think it's worth anywhere from $3 trillion to $106 trillion to the United States. U.S. corporations, like my corporation, are actually recapitalizing on Bitcoin. We've gone from having $250 million of assets 48 months ago to having nearly $45 billion of assets in 48 months. If you look out over the next 20 years, corporations that are accumulating Bitcoin on their reserve, like MSTR, like Mara, like Riot, they're going to have $20 to $40 trillion. So this is a small metaphor, but it's a powerful metaphor. But you know, it's hard to rent out or finance or develop your cheese or your gold or your natural gas buried in a vault. So a more powerful metaphor is Bitcoin as digital property. If you own 5% of Manhattan and your family owned it for 100 years and someone said, how are you going to pay your bills? You wouldn't say, we're just going to sell it. You would say, we're going to rent it. We're going to develop it. We're going to put a building on top of it, a business on top of it, or we're going to finance it. We're going to borrow against it. The same is true with Bitcoin. In 20 years, the United States could be generating $10 trillion per year by renting, developing, or financing the assets in that strategic Bitcoin reserve. The AIs are coming. The AIs don't get bank accounts. They don't get credit cards. The AIs, the artificial intelligence economy, will be built on digital capital, digital property. It'll be a $100 trillion economy. It'll be built on Bitcoin. Well, a lot of people, they think of it as an asset, you think of it as a property, but what we know to be true is that Bitcoin is actually a network, and it's not just any network. It's not an information network. It's an energy network. It's a conservative network. I can send $1 billion from me to you. I lose it. You have it. That is the conservation of energy in cyberspace. So when you start to visualize Bitcoin as a digital energy network, what you realize is that trillions of dollars of digital commerce will flow over that network. The banking system of the world is going to rebuild itself on a digital energy network. We're going to have 40,000 banks that will be settling with each other in real time. Finally, moving billions, tens of billions, or hundreds of billions of dollars an hour over a pure digital network. Right? So if you look at the world and imagine digital energy moving around the world, and then you ask the question, would you want to own it or would you want to ignore it?
Okay, and I'm going to stop it right there. Obviously, he's got a lot of these presentations in here that you should listen to and pay attention to. Okay, but I wanted to get to that point, and we're just going to go back. We're just going to go back just a little bit so that you can hear exactly what he says. Okay.
Billions, tens of billions, or hundreds of billions of dollars an hour over a pure digital network, right? So if you look at the world and imagine digital energy moving around the world, and then you ask the question, would you want to own it or would you want to ignore it? It's an important question. And of course, I think some of you might have seen the cyber blackout of X yesterday and all the cyber attacks. The last and most important metaphor is when we have open digital energy flowing, it is a commerce network. But when we reverse that digital energy into a shield, it becomes a defense system. It is for it all. Look at over a pure digital network, right? So if you look at the world and imagine digital energy moving around the world, and then you ask the question, would you want to own it or would you want to ignore it?
Would you want to own it or would you want to ignore it? And I submit to you that those people who are prescient enough to adjust with the changes that go on every single day in the world and the investments that go on in the world, the early bird gets the worm. And I just submit to everybody that we are at the cusp. We are on the ground floor of the digital gold rush, okay? And if you pay attention and you invest to whatever extent that you can, whether it's 50 or $100 or whether it's 2,500 or 5,000, do not ignore it. You want to own it. And the dividends that it's going to pay over the course of time are going to be huge. Again, I'm not a financial planner. I'm not suggesting that you do anything. All I'm doing is bringing information to you from one of the preeminent minds in person who's leading the space of cryptocurrency in the gold rush. He's got the information right here. So please listen to it, dig into it, and participate with me in the transfer of wealth from the wicked to the righteous in this process that's right before us. So that concludes today. I will be cutting more shows in the future. And again, we're going to be going live probably right around May 8th or 9th. So like us, put questions out there. I'll get you answers. And we're ready to keep rolling. So thank you for joining us today. And we will be back at you very soon. Thank you.